The goal of lesson 15 is to talk about the inverse trigonometric functions. But before we do that, we have to go back and review one-to-one functions and inverse functions. Okay? Let's remember what the definition of one-to-one means. It says a function f is said to be one-to-one if for any choices of numbers x1 and x2, such that x1 does not equal x2, then f of x1 cannot equal f of x2. Now what this really means is, if you're given a function, say x cubed, for any two x values that you choose that are different, so maybe there's x1 and there's x2. Okay? For any two x values that are different, the y values must also be different. Okay? That's what one-to-one means. Notice for any two x values that I choose, they will always have different y values. So this would be an example of a one-to-one function. Okay? How about x squared? F of x equals x squared. Well, notice I can choose an x value here, maybe x1 equals -1. There are two x values that are exactly the same, but notice f of -1, that's 1. F of 1 is 1 also, and notice these have the exact same y values. So I chose two random x values that were different, but the y values were the same. So this would not be one-to-one. Okay? Now notice, there's a nice test, and you may remember it. The horizontal line test states that if I draw a horizontal line and it intersects the graph at most one place, then it has to be one-to-one. Notice here I can draw lots of horizontal lines that hit the function in more than one spot. That is not one-to-one. So why don't we write down the horizontal line test. It's a good way to determine if a function is one-to-one if you're given the graph. If every horizontal line intersects the graph of a function f in at most one point, then f is one-to-one. Okay? We saw that any horizontal line I draw here hits at most once. Here, more than once, not one-to-one, one-to-one. So it's a nice, easy test to determine if a graph is one-to-one. All right, let's remember some of those functions that were included in the library of functions that we had to memorize. It says the following functions are one-to-one. And let's just graph them and make sure that they are one-to-one. X cubed, we just did that one, so I'll quickly draw that again. Okay. 1 over x, remember what that one looked like. And square root x looks like so. Okay. Now notice, every single one of these functions passes the horizontal line test. For any line I draw, it can only intersect at most one place. That is one-to-one. Okay? The next lesson will be on inverse functions, so stay tuned and watch that one.